Hello, everyone, and welcome to our session today on simplifying your AI deployment on a unified platform. My name is Jennifer McLaughlin, and I'm a solution engineering leader within our next-gen platform team. So we want to thank you for being here today. There is many other places that you could have been, and so we want to thank you first for being a customer. We want to thank you for coming to London World Tour, and we also want to thank you for sitting in this particular session. I promise it will be a worthwhile investment of your time. The way that we're going to structure today's keynote is through several different chapters. First, I will talk to you about where we are in this particular AI moment. Then, I will ask my colleague to come on stage and we'll take you through a live demonstration showing you our latest and greatest of all of our agentic capabilities. And finally, we'll invite two customers on stage so that they can share how they're innovating on the Salesforce platform. So let's go ahead and get started. So you already know us for CRM. In fact, the name Salesforce is synonymous with CRM. For goodness sakes, it's actually our stock ticker. Now, I joined this company nearly 14 years ago, and it looked a little bit different. At that point in time, we only had 7,000 employees. We had 3 flagship products. We were selling sales, service, and platform. Now, as we move into today, things have obviously changed a bit. But what remained true back then is that we helped you manage your human workforce in support of your customer relationship management goals. So what's changed today, now that we're in this new wave and era of innovation and AI, is things look a little bit different. Our company is now 70,000 employees. We have more clouds than I can count on 2 hands. But one simple truth that remains that used to exist before is still true today. We still help you manage your human workforce, but now we've combined that with the ability to also manage your digital workforce. So when I use the term digital labor, what I'm referring to is the ability to deploy agents that can help you plan, reason, and take action on your behalf. So Salesforce is one of the only vendors that allows you to collaborate and manage both of your human and digital workforce in support of your CRM goals. You know, I have the opportunity to speak with customers on a daily basis. In fact, I've had some great meetings here in London over the past couple of days, and I hear 2 different types of refrains. The first is I hear from business users, and they're so excited about this new AI moment that we're in and the promise of these agents and what they can deliver. They want to see the productivity gains, and they want to see the growth goals, and they want them now. So they really want rapid deployment. Now, on the other hand, us within IT, well, we're a little bit more cautious, right? We want to make sure that everything is rooted within security and control, and that we have ultimate customization over what we're rolling out. Well, the good news is that on the Salesforce platform, both of these initiatives can coexist. We provide out-of-box templates so that you can get your agents up to speed rapidly while providing you the customization and security that you need, whether that's determining how the agent learns, what are the guardrails for the agent, what is the toxicity for the agent. So both of these things coexist on the Salesforce platform, so you don't actually have to choose. Now, this isn't just fun, pretty messaging for a keynote. We are actually using these agents live within Salesforce. In fact, internally, we've rolled out tons of agents, and one that you can actually see and experience is on our Salesforce Help website. So this Salesforce Help website receives 60 million customer inquiries a year. There are 740,000 unique knowledge base articles resident on this website. So several months ago, we took the opportunity to release a help desk agent. Now, some of the questions that are coming in from this website can range from, I need to change my password, all the way to, I need help with a complex integration script. Questions that are going to take countless individuals and numerous hours to resolve. Well, with the help of our help desk agent, we were able to resolve 99% of the inquiries that are coming in through our autonomous agent capability. So only 1% actually moves to a human. This is a fantastic example of agents and humans working together and in tandem to support all of your customer support goals. And this is really just the beginning. We've released agents within our sales domain that help you plan, execute, and follow up on your sales meetings. We've released business development agents that help you find and nurture leads. So the other good thing about the agent that I just talked about, and I really do encourage you to go on our Salesforce help page so that you can see what it looks like and witness it for yourself, was it was rolled out in weeks instead of months. So how did we do that? And what does a unified platform actually mean? So let me define it a little bit for you. So a unified platform is a singular metadata code base that houses all of your applications and services. It's the same structure we've had since the genesis of the company in 1999. But let's peel back the onion a little bit more to talk about the different layers of this application. So most of our customers will choose one of our off-the-shelf clouds, either sales or service, because that meets their needs. However, we do have the capability for custom application development. So if one of our customers needs to create an application that's not built using their desired code language, they can do so, and it is still a first-class citizen integrated within our stack and sitting side by side with some of the packaged applications like Sales or Service Cloud. Now that we have our application, either standard or custom application layer, underneath that is the data foundation. Now, data is having a big moment. Data has joined the center stage. It's always been important, but now at this time in technology, it has become uber important. Data is needed to power, obviously, the applications. It's also needed to ground our agents so that they make the right decisions. Now, with Salesforce, we have many tools to make this much easier for our customers. The first of which is Zero Copy, which allows you to virtualize your data, whether it sits within a lakehouse or a warehouse within your organization, and actually activate that data that was previously trapped within silos within vendors like Snowflake or Databricks. Bringing that data together to present a unique customer profile and also grounding the agent to make smarter decisions. We also have pre-built connectors available, and this isn't just for ingestion of data into the system, this is also for egress. So whenever you want to perform any actions downstream in third-party systems, whether that be initiate a refund or update inventory in an ERP system, you can utilize our pre-built connectors to accomplish this. Now, security and trust is our number one value, and that is baked throughout the platform. That's why we're showing it right in the middle. An example of this is data masking, which you're going to see in our demo in just a couple of minutes. Data masking helps us obfuscate the sensitive data that we don't want to present to humans or to agents. We also have a robust analytics engine. So this analytics engine helps our humans and our agents make smarter decisions and make them faster. Now, this engine also contains a semantics layer so we can define your company's business acronyms and terminologies so your agents are actually speaking the language of your company. And finally, we have our AI layer. Now, we did not just enter this AI space. We have been here since 2014. In fact, we started with predictive in 2014 with Einstein. So we've been doing this for over a decade. But now what's different is we've obviously entered the generative era and we've released autonomous AI capability that, again, all sits within this unified platform and can take advantage of all of the services that I talked about. So another thing I hear from customers on a daily basis, especially within the last couple of months, is this concept of interoperability. Now, we would absolutely love for you to only be a Salesforce shop and to use our technology stack full stop. In fact, you'd probably be on stage with me next year. However, we're not as naive to think that you won't be using other technologies as well. In fact, many of the customers I talk to want to talk about a multi-agent world where they have our Agentforce agents also speaking with Bedrock, Sierra, Palantir agents. And so we're baking in the latest and greatest protocols that are being released, like A2A and MCP, to make agent-to-agent communication possible so that your agents can communicate across any data, any LLM, any app, and any geo. So now that you understand what a unified platform is, and you're starting to ideate and think about some of the use cases that you can roll out on this platform, I'd like to call my colleague, Simon Goddard, up so that he can take us through an agentic maturity curve, which demonstrates where you should actually start when you're thinking about how to enter an agentic world.
Thank you, Jen. All right. Good afternoon, London. My name is Simon. I work on our next-gen platform product marketing team, and it's good to be back on home soil. I actually now live in Melbourne, Australia, but I jump at any chance to come back to the UK because I miss a UK audience, because we are cynics at heart. You know, we can hear all the messaging and the marketing, but we need to see it to believe it. So in this next part of our session, we're going to actually bring to life what Jen just described. And so before we get started, I'd actually like to make the other breakout session jealous. So I want a really loud round of applause for Elizabeth and Marcus, who are going to be doing the demo. They can watch it on Salesforce Plus later. So during this demo, we are going to walk through the agentic maturity model that Jen just shared. And what we want to share with you here is, no matter where you're starting with your first agent use case, the Salesforce platform is there to support you. And what we want to show is how you can actually make these use cases more advanced, quite simply using that same platform. So the example we're going to walk through is one that hopefully you're all familiar with. It's the art of updating a flight reservation. Now, this is actually a preemptive use case. It's hypothetical, but Jen and me are in the same city. We're rarely in the same city. And she said, Simon, let's do something really English. After the keynote, let's go to the pub and let's have a pint together. And I said, Jen, that's fine, but I'm actually flying to Paris tonight for another event, so I'm going to have to move my flight booking. And she said, do it. Let's do it. So thankfully, I'm flying with Horizon Air. And Horizon Air has deployed a digital worker that they've called Sophie, which is powered by Agentforce. And so I want to share with you how this experience now works as an example. So here you can see me chatting to Sophie in a normal messaging app. And I'm going to say to Sophie, hey, I need to change my flight. Now, already you're starting to see the AI at work here, because Sophie has identified who I am as a customer. She's then personalized the response, and she's answered back to me in the tone of voice that I would expect from Horizon Air. So, okay, thank you, Sophie. Let's yes, this is the right flight. This is my booking. Let's update this booking live. So we're then going to ask if this is the flight we'd like to change. Here we go. I need a later flight. Now what Sophie's going to do is go into the flight scheduling system, because the Horizon Air IT team has connected Sophie to the backend systems where the flight scheduling information is stored, and she's now retrieving that and surfacing it to me as the customer. So I can see there are alternative options for me to select. And then Sophie has suggested I can change my booking by calling the service center or going into the mobile app. Now, for many of you, this may be your first use case. This is a fantastic use case. For me as a customer, this was such a better experience than having to find my login, find my reference, and go through a million different screens. So this is, they're trying their hardest. They're trying their hardest to outclap us. We'll get them back later. So this is extremely valuable, and this is what we would call a level 1 use case. This is simple information retrieval and customer interaction at scale. So we are going to make this more complex, but before we do, let's actually go behind the scenes and share with you how we built this experience on Agentforce. So now what you're seeing is what we call Agent Builder. Now, if you're familiar with the Salesforce platform, hopefully this UI looks similar. It's the UI that the whole Salesforce platform is built on, so it's meant to be easy to use for you. And on the left-hand side, what you're seeing is topics. Now, topics are the jobs to be done. Think of this as the instructions that you give your agent, just like you would give instructions to a new colleague. And so in here, we can see a number of different topics. One of them is reservation management. So if we click in here, you can see, using natural language, we've asked Sophie what to do and what not to do, which is going to be important later. As part of topics, we also have associated actions. So what you can see here is Sophie is instructed to find flights, or find bookings. And you saw that happen in the example before. And what's interesting here is to find flights, Sophie's had to go into a different data platform to pull that information. Now, you heard Jen mention earlier about the innovation of zero copy. So actually, what the Salesforce platform has done here is virtualize the data into the platform to be able to do something with it, to act on it, without having to physically move and transform the data into Salesforce. So that means that you can actually get value from that data without it just sitting in the data lake over there. So this is great. This is how we've built the agent. But let's make it a little bit more complex. Let's actually get Sophie to action my request rather than me having to ring the service center up. So to do this, we're going to add a new action. And what we want to do first is share with you, if I did call the service agent up, what is the experience the human service agent would go through? So this is a Salesforce service CRM instance. And if I was on the phone to the service agent, what they would do is some manual data entry to get the flight I need. So they'd enter some information. I want to fly after 6 p.m. They'd also then go through and make sure that they have the right cities. And then, well, Elizabeth is making sure I'm a good corporate citizen. I'm only going to fly economy today, boo-hoo. And then they would click next. Now, for me as the customer, this would then send me a confirmation email, a booking. The agent would go on to the next call. Now, for all of us in the industry, we know that when you click next, actually, a lot more stuff is happening in the background, right? There are a number of different processes that are then kicked off within your business to update that booking. Now, on the Salesforce platform, we use Flow, Salesforce Flow, to build those step-by-step automations and triggers. So here you can see the flow that you have in Salesforce that does that request. Now, this is where the power of the platform comes in, because if you've built these flows, if you've built these triggers on Salesforce and your human agents can access them, your Agentforce agents can also action them. So let's now actually go back to Agent Builder and show how this works very, very simply. So now we're going to go to New. I'm going to click New Action. And as Jen mentioned, there are a number of ways. The platform is very extensible. So there are a number of things you can connect your agent to do. For example, you could select an API that's built with MuleSoft and immediately available within the platform. That means that you could action in any system across your IT estate. But in this example, we want to trigger that flow that we just built. So we're going to select flow. We're going to find the example. And then we are going to do some light configuration, change the inputs and outputs. And then we are going to publish it so that our Agentforce agent, just like that, is now able to action that exact same flow that your human service agents can do. So this is a game changer. This now means Sophie is able to actually act on my request. But before we go and show you this experience, there's one more thing I want to do. We all fly, and we know that the airline industry makes their money on the upsell, right? It's from seat selection, it's from adding on new baggage, it's from upgrades. And so as businesses, we want to make sure that we don't lose those opportunities for revenue generation. So how can Sophie also upsell me as a customer during this process? Well, that would mean Sophie needs to access an external third-party system. For Horizon Air, all of their loyalty data sits on a separate platform and instance. And we know we've already built an API that calls out to that system. So let's just reuse it. So here we're going to go into our asset library. And again, we're going to search for the API that we've already built. And we're just going to give Sophie the access she needs to be able to call into that loyalty program. So just like that, we've created a brand new action for Sophie. So now she has more capability to act on my request. This is now a level 2 and even a level 3 use case. This is now multi-domain, calling across multiple third-party systems to be able to act. So let's make this real. Let's go back to that Sophie screen and see what the experience is now like for me as a customer. So again, I'm going to say, Sophie, I need to change my flight. Sophie, again, is going to recognize it's me, come back to me with a personalized response. I say, yes, I would like a later flight, preferably after 6 p.m. And now Sophie is again going to pull the flights, but notice the difference. Now she's not directing me to the mobile app or to the customer service center. She's saying, which would you like? And okay, well, I know Jen is not a one-drink kind of gal. There's going to be at least 2 or 3 pints, so let's go for the later option. Let's give myself some buffer room. So let's go for the 10 p.m. flight. And now Sophie is allowing me to book that flight in the conversation. And Jen mentioned before about the data masking capabilities, the security capabilities on the Salesforce platform. You're seeing that in action here because the credit card detail is masked from the agent, but also from whatever LLM that you're using to process this. And so now I can easily just say, yes, that is the right card I'd like to authenticate. Let's please go ahead and book. What a beautiful experience, all built on one unified platform. And you're now seeing the upsell moment come in. See, Sophie knows me well. She's looking at my loyalty information and she says, Simon, even though Elizabeth wants you to fly economy, we know you're a business class kind of guy. Why don't we use some of your available points that I can now access and upgrade your flight? And I say, you know what, Sophie, let's do it. Let's live a little. Let's actually upgrade my flight. And there we go. All from within one conversation window, I've been able to have a great customer experience. So this is the power of building agentic agent use cases on the Salesforce platform. We've shared with you how you can start with simpler, less complex use cases and actually upscale them to more complex use cases fairly simply at your confidence level. So this is great. Hopefully it's made it a bit more real, but let's make it even more real by actually getting some customers to share their best practices and examples with you. So please, very loud round of applause for Jen, who's going to introduce our customers.
Yes, thank you. Great job. Hello, everyone. Thank you so much, Simon. That was a lot of fun. I do think I should clarify, I am a one-drink kind of girl. I would love to call up onto the stage some of our esteemed customers, John and Kent, and we can talk about how they have innovated on the Salesforce platform. So John and Kent, please join me. Fantastic. So I'd love it if you started off, and could you please just tell us a little bit more about your role in the organization and what's top of mind for you? So John, I'll go to you first.
Yeah, for sure. So I'm the Chief Information Officer of the National Trust. The National Trust is Europe's largest conservation charity. Great to see so many of my colleagues and hopefully some supporters here in the audience as well. My role there is I'm accountable for all things digital data, technology, but also cybersecurity and privacy. So those are really important to us in the organization. We have around about 6 million members, around 25 million paying visitors every year. So making sure their data is absolutely looked after and respected, hugely important for us.
That's great. Thank you so much. Kent, I'd love to hear from you.
Yeah, so Ken Packman, I'm the Salesforce architect for Aston Martin. I apologize about my voice. Last night was a little bit heavy.
More than 2 drinks?
In terms of Aston Martin, if you don't know us, we make fast cars that are rather expensive and very luxury. So slightly different use case, but we have a lot of data needs. We have a lot of complexity within our business, and we have some of the most demanding customers in the world. So.
Great, thank you so much.
Top of mind for us.
Yeah, so Ken, I'd love it, since you're an architect, I'd love it if you tell us a little bit more about how you're actually using the platform to differentiate on the customer experiences that you're providing.
Yeah, so a large number of people will know Salesforce, as mentioned, as a CRM. The piece that we're seeing it as is effectively an aggregator for an enterprise level solution. So we're looking at data not only from our CRM portfolio within the Salesforce platform, but also across Databricks throughout the enterprise. So that could be anything from parts engineering all the way through to fulfillment of a vehicle order. And we're unifying all of that and effectively driving a single layer of data with the semantic layer to understand that enterprise layer. That ultimately builds a great platform for us to then deliver experiences like the one we saw a moment ago, as well as analytics that are far more robust across the business.
That's great. So in summary, which products are you using from Salesforce? Data Cloud,
Pretty much
I heard? All of them?
Data Cloud, we're using Tableau Next, which was
fantastic.
Thing. We're also using Salesforce, Sales Cloud, Platform, etc. And MuleSoft. And if you've seen it, we've probably got it.
Yeah, love it. John, similar question to you. You're a CIO, so you're constantly evaluating what you're spending and the value that you're getting. So I'd love it if you could share some of the value that you're getting from the platform, and also if you have any advice for some CIOs in the audience as well.
Absolutely. So I think really sort of front of mind in that is thinking about how we can be a strategic enabler for the organization. And for us at the National Trust, we've just launched our new strategy, which is about restoring nature, ending unequal access for people to nature and heritage, thinking about how can we inspire future generations and current generations to actually care about those things. And in order to do that, we have to grow the organization. And really, we see, the Salesforce platform as our enabler for that growth. And so really thinking about what is it that we're trying to do on the platform in order to grow the organization, the support we have, but also through our great membership supporters that we have there, from our fundraising, business activities, and all of our engagement activities. And all of those are enabled through the Salesforce platform. So my advice when really analyzing what you have is think about what are the business objectives that you're trying to enable and really having those front of mind, but also then looking what's the simplest way to realize those. And that really for us was what made our Salesforce journey the way that it actually transpired, was really thinking about end to end. How can we make those customer journeys and business outcome journeys as simple as possible, but as joined up as possible? So, that we were able to do that through the many clouds that we've actually utilized, but also importantly, putting data at the very core of that through Data Cloud.
Yeah, you were. We had the opportunity to speak earlier, and you were telling me about your journey on Data Cloud. So you're achieving value from Data Cloud, right?
Absolutely, and we're achieving value today because what we're able to do is to segment our customers and really target and focus those engagements that we do, and make sure we're personalizing those as best that we can, but also thinking about how can we utilize that to understand what our supporters want from us, not just what we think, we should be talking to them about.
That's great. That's a great success story. Kent, I'd love to hear what's next for you. As you're thinking about AI and the journey that Aston Martin is taking, what is next?
Starting small is what's next for us. So if people have seen me speak before, they know that is my motto. But ultimately, what we're looking to do at the moment is deliver an agent for our internal use case, so to dealers. The consistency that we see across the globe when our partner network is actually quite up and down, is the nicest way to say that. What we're trying to ensure is that everybody understands how to use the platform, B, the product information, so the information being passed to customers is correct. And then from there, drive out from the knowledge of the data that we have and the unified information, some more contextual question answers. So we have dealer support, for example. They answer thousands of queries a week. Anything from where's my order all the way through to I've got this problem with my car, how do I fix it? So again, growing out using more data on zero copy basis from Databricks to ultimately resolve those issues as fast as possible.
Great. What's next for you, John?
Lots of things. I think, our ambition is great. We can see so many exciting opportunities that we can use the platform to do. But I think from a data perspective, it's really thinking about, well, what more data sources can we bring into the platform? How, in a similar way to Kent described, how can we utilize zero copy? Right. But importantly for us, how can we start thinking about how we're going to use AI, both the Einstein AI capabilities, but also the agentic AI capabilities for many different use cases. And we're trying to, like Ken said, starting small. So thinking about how can we do simple use cases that free up our agents to actually do the things that really matter to our supporters. But then thinking about how can we enable simple journeys for our supporters so that we can make those as quick and as frictionless as possible, so that our people can really focus on the difficult things. But also making our people who are trying to do many, many tasks. You can imagine in a non-profit, we try and give people as many jobs and tasks as we possibly can. But really, how can we empower them through the platform so that they can do much more and derive much more benefit through our use of the platform?
That's great. I want to thank you, Kent and John, for your insights. Can we all give them a round of applause? Thank you so much for joining us, and thank you for being customers. So, everyone, thank you so much for joining us today. What you heard today was a little bit about where we are in this particular AI moment. We defined what a unified platform is. You got to see a live demo that was amazing. I am not a heavy drinker, just again, and one more clarification. And then we heard from two of our amazing customers doing great work on our platform and really thinking about the future. So I want to thank you for joining us and have a great day.